Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Facebook. Uh, we're doing another workshop, and today's workshop is called Toxic Love. So thank you for tuning in to Catch Up Event Workshop. I am Takesha, and once again, we're doing a workshop today on toxic love. So when it comes to toxic love, toxic relationships, are our eyes blinded to our hearts really, to what our hearts really feel, or does our heart hide what our eyes tell us? So we're gonna get into more what that means. The outline today: what is a topic? Toxic relationship. What are the signs? What keeps us coming back to a toxic relationship? Does our eyes play a part in our heart's decision making? Why do we allow our hearts to decide what is known to our eyes? Loneliness in the heart versus the feeling of being lonely. Can loneliness influence our decision in a relationship? Trauma can cause a person to stay in a toxic relationship. Money, sex influence a person to stay. Does our self worth play a part in it? And does it mean that I'm toxic? What is a toxic relationship? A toxic relationship is a unhealthy relationship that can disrupt your peace of mind. Yes, it's a relationship that can disrupt your peace of mind. If you have lost all your peace of mind, it is toxic. A toxic form of relation can comes is not just a lover, your partner. This can be your employment. This can be your family, your friends, your school, any place or anyone that disrupt your peace of mind. It is toxic. Relationship turn toxic when promises, needs, and expectations aren't met or addressed, or when one person bring their past unresolved issues into in a new environment. That can be deadly toxic. What are the signs? Do I know if I'm in a toxic relationship or an environment? Frantically thinking, what is the point? Never is never going to happen. So when you get to the point and you thinking like, oh, this never going to happen, or what's the point of my doing like things like that? This is usually a sign that you are in a toxic environment or in a toxic relationship. Things become aggressive. So if you're talking to a partner or you're talking to somebody at your work, school, or whatever, or a family member, and things get aggressive between you, this is a sign of a toxic relationship, or you're in a toxic environment. A conversation between two people, or things should never get to the point where it's aggressive if one is expressing their feelings. No talking, it becomes a shouting match. So if you or whoever stops talking, and it becomes all about shouting, nobody hears nobody, everybody voices is being raised. Yeah, it becomes toxic. You notice a change in your behavior. You go from happy to sad all the time. So if you're not satisfied where you're at and you're always down a lot and you notice that in them, this is a sign right here also too that you're in a toxic relationship. Always fighting. It can be something as simple as somebody didn't pick up their shoes, somebody didn't walk the dog, somebody didn't file the paperwork the correct way, somebody in your family is always asking for money. These things where you're starting to fight a lot. You have thoughts, feelings, or concerns you can't express. So if you cannot express these feelings to the person that you need to express them to, this also is a sign of toxicness. You should always be able to express your feelings and thoughts and concerns in the environment that you're in and safely. What keeps us coming back to a toxic relationship? We have to ask ourselves, what keeps us coming back? Oh, it feels so wrong. It feels so good, but I know it's so wrong. Yes, there are many reasons to keep us coming back, convincing ourselves things aren't that bad. So when you look at your past relationships, so um, this person might give in on this part, but it also in your last relationships you didn't have that. So you still convincing, it's not that bad. At least this place doesn't do this, or this place gives me this, or my partner does this. My last place of employment didn't do this. My last partner didn't do this. Convincing yourself that these things aren't as bad. I can't find no one, so nobody like my partner, or I can't find another school like this, or I can't find another employment like this. Keep telling ourselves those negative things. Yes, you can. You can find another partner. You can find another employment, and you will find another school that suits your need. I don't want to be by myself. Nobody wants to be alone, but This is what keeps coming us back to a toxic environment. I don't want to be by myself. How am I going to provide for myself? This can conclude with your partner. If your partner is a provider, or if the employment place where you at is what's keeping your bills paid, you don't want to leave those that steady environment. But it also isn't a toxic environment. The makeup after argument isn't so bad. So if you and your partner have an argument and the makeup sex is great, you look at that as, the argument wasn't really so bad. Was I being immature? You look at things like that. Who's going to treat me as well as this one does? So if you're used to your like past relationships that you're not getting some needs met, or you had a past relationship where they never took you out, they never brought you anything like that, you might look at that. That's a rise up, a step up. I don't want to try again. No, I just, it's too hard for me to go out there, put myself on a market, got to tell somebody else about myself. That's including the point. I don't want to start another job. I'm too old for this. That's how most of us look at things like that. Starting over is hard. Um, I should just stay where I'm at. Yes, it is. As the older you get, it becomes more harder to start over, especially if you're thinking about a new employment. Yes, it's kind of hard to start all over again, paving yourself for something new. It is very hard and difficult. So this is why what keeps us coming back to and toxic environment, the fear of starting all over again. Does our eyes play a part in our hard decision making? Oh, what does that mean? So it seems kind of confusing. Do our eyes play a part in our hard decision making? Many times when we see what we see with our eyes makes us become blinded to our hearts. So what I mean by that is I can see this guy has some beautiful eyes and a beautiful smile, but my heart telling me this is a jerk, this is a clown. We are more prone to look at materialistic things in a physical aspect. We focus more on physical aspects such uh, than what we should be learning, feeling what our heart is telling us. Um, our side, my love has been brought to me, but my heart is saying, please run away before I get a cardiac arrest. Yes, yeah. Because when we are looking with just our eyes, right? We are focused on the physical aspect. Yeah, your eyes can tell you a lot about a person. When you look at this person, he has a gorgeous smile. Everything about this person feels right, but your heart doesn't in line with what your heart is not being in line with what your eyes are telling you. So yes, our heart can say this person is wrong for us. We're not seeing that this person is cheating on us. We're not seeing that this person is doing these bad things. We just see this physical aspect of him, and we try to convince our eyes try to convince our heart that this person is right for us, and you go on and carry into toxic relationships because you are convinced what you see is what you're feeling, and those are two different things. So, why do we allow our hearts to lie about what our eyes tell us? Sometimes we love a person so much and become blinded to what we really are. For example, the case your partner is a cheater. You know your partner cheats, but it's been so many things between you and your partner you overlook it, because for the simple fact is your partner might cheat, but you say to yourself, oh, my partner takes good care of me, my partner does this, my partner does that, my partner doesn't beat on me, my partner doesn't verbally abuse me, but this is why I stay, this is why I love him. You convince yourself so many things. Your heart is convinced that what you're seeing is wrong. So because you're saying that he's cheating, your partner is cheating, oh no, it's not so bad. Someone who wants to keep an employment, you can see all the bad signs that this place is not for you, but because of your heart telling you that you love being here, you love what you do, is convincing you that what you're seeing about the people that you work with is you become blinded. Someone who is a dreamer more than a doer. You've been with a person or you've been with a company that got big aspirations and big plans, but they never come true. It's been 15 years you've been with a person and they still is dreaming about getting there, rap business off the ground, or they still getting trying to get their clothing business off the line. Yes, things take time, but what are these people doing to prepare to get themselves together? A partner who's extremely flirty. It's not so bad that my partner is flirting. At least my partner doesn't do this. You try to justify why you feel for what you see. Um, a partner who is using you. You go back to once again. Okay, so what? If I'm giving more than my partner, at least my partner doesn't do that. You convince your heart that what your eyes are saying to you are not true. Yes, it is true. This person is using you, and it's not gonna get any better. It's gonna get worse. And so we cannot continue to allow our hearts to play a part into what we see. Your heart and your eyes have to be lined up with each other. So my eyes see one thing, my eyes got to tell my heart, say this character, this joker, this place ain't good for me, because you are into once again into a toxic relationship or in a toxic environment. Can loneliness influence our decisions in a relationship? Yes, it can. When we are lonely, we become more vulnerable to anyone, to allow anyone into our presence. That includes toxic people. Yes, when are lonely, we are allowing toxic people to come because we don't want to be by ourselves. The feeling of being alone can bring on anxiety about what's going to happen to you. So when you think about being alone, if you're getting older and you'll see like a lot of older people going for younger people. If you're getting older and your kids are grown, or if you have any kids, and you start saying that I'm in the house by myself, you start feeling anxiety, like what's going to happen to me? Who's going to be around to take care of me? Things like if I hurt myself, who's going to be there for me? You look at things like that, so you start feeling anxiety and you start panicking. So you start panicking, you not making rational decisions about what you want to do. I get really depressed coming home alone. Yes, it is depressing when you come home and there's nobody to talk to, or even if you have somebody to talk to on the phone, eventually you are going to hang up. I do not like it. I do not like being by myself, or it will be really nice to have someone around when I get home. That's always a given for people, that you want somebody that's physically there with you. Never mind if this person is toxic. I just want somebody to be. I just want the company. I just have to have this company. So no matter if this person is toxic, I just don't want to come home alone. The social expectation make us believe that people who do not have a partner have some type of issues or with commitment. Really, our society standards or how a person is supposed to live are wrong. So I noticed that people that do live alone and have been alone, I noticed they have lived a happier life than I have, having somebody in my presence. And I'm not going to admit, I have had a lot of toxic relationships. But once I started seeing the people that's around me that were by themselves were content with being by themselves, that means I had to be okay with me not having nobody to talk to, because being alone and coming home to no drama or just having no toxicness in my life, it feels better. Um, when you become focused on what other feels about you, the insecurity in your mind plays out and you are more vulnerable. Yes, you are. So if you have people saying, oh, when you gonna get married, when you gonna go date somebody, when you gonna do this, you don't accept anything, because you looking at what people, how people feel about you, instead of you being okay with you being alone. It is okay to be alone with yourself, long as you are having a peace of mind. Again, if you are having a peace of mind and you are alone, and then when you get into this unstable and untoxic environment and they disrupt your peace, no, you're not okay anymore. Loneliness in the heart versus the feeling of being lonely. Yes, that's the difference too. We all have times when we feel lonely, but you can have that feeling even when you're living with someone, or even in an intimate relationship. How is that possible? Your partner can be here with you, right? But the feeling that you get, you still feeling lonely, you still feeling absent from them. So meaning if you and your partner is in the house together and y'all not having no type of communication, or y'all don't have anything that's going on, you sitting on one end, their partner sitting on the other end, you still are feeling lonely in the heart. And that's always going to be like that. Just because you have somebody present don't mean you're not lonely. Being just loneliness means not having a person physically. When you're lonely, that means you're not having a person physically in your presence. So so yes, it's different of feeling loneliness in the heart. The loneliness in the heart is feeling that I just wish I had something. You just feeling alone. But actually being lonely is not having nobody presence in your present. You can get lonely when you don't have someone to talk to. Yes, that's the feeling of being lonely. But lonely when you don't have anybody next to you at all. Trauma can trauma cause a person to enter a toxic relationship? This one is very deep because for a lot of people, trauma has caused trauma victims to do a lot of different things. So we hope that if you are a trauma victim, you take a look at some of the things that's happened in your past and look at your relationships now. When a person has been exposed to trauma, it can play a role in being in a toxic relationship. What do I mean by that? So, say like if you're the type of person that you have grown up with abusive parents, living with family members who have substance substance use disorder, being bullied, not having a stable environment. These things right here, when we enter into toxic relationships, so what if my partner have substance abuse? But the thing about it is, I'm in a stable home. I have somewhere to live. Somebody's taking care of me. So those right there are allowed us to not see the toxics that we're entering into, because where we came from, this look a lot better than where we came from. So this right here, so if somebody is providing housing for me and at this point not beating on me, yes, the person having a substance use disorder, that don't look so bad, but yes, it can be toxic to your growth. After being exposed to any form of trauma, the way we look at ourselves can change. um what do I mean by that? I don't feel like I'm worthy of anything because I have been exposed to this. I have so much added on to me. I don't feel like I can't achieve something. I cannot have a normal relationship. We look at things like that. Oftentimes, with trauma, people can develop depression, anxiety, self harm tendencies, and the can cause people to enter into toxic relationship. People can think this person is going to take care of my needs. So if I'm coming from a toxic environment, and somebody say, hey, I can provide you the world. Yeah, you might can provide me the world, but you still can be a toxic person. And because I'm going somewhere that's better than what I came from, yes, it does not appear to be toxic to me. Many times people might not even know that they are still being abused. Hell, he is not hitting me, he just said I'm fat garbage. So okay, in front of your friends, this person called you a fat garbage, or a person tell you that your weight is on you losing weight can make me happy. Verbal abuse is still just as worse as physical abuse, emotional abuse. Those are still toxic. Just because a person is not putting their hands on you, that them words that you say. So if at the time of night that this person said these mean things to you, you have to stop and look, and you start uh, feeling like those things, like you are a piece of garbage, or you are hurting yourself, losing weight because you want to make this person. And no, there's verbal abuse and there's emotional abuse, and those things are just as toxic as somebody putting their hands on you. That's not a good relationship. Does our self-worth play a part in our relationship? What it is about ourselves that makes us stay into toxic relationship? Do I have low self-esteem? He said that I was fat, but at least he didn't hit me. Is that my self-esteem talking that I know I'm big, but you don't have to tell me these things. If a person love you, if your weight is a problem, they're not going to make fun of your weight. They're going to help you to get you to where you need to be. You're not going to talk about me in you're fat. At least he didn't hit me. No, 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 no. We have to have some type of self-esteem for us to know when we are not in our best. Do I believe I'm worthy of having a normal relationships? All my past relationships has failed. Maybe I'm the problem. Those are your past relationships. Whatever happened in the past, that's the past. Today is a new day, it's a new start. You get a new start every time you wake up. So what your past relationships have, it does not have it's not doesn't have the right to show up in your future relationship. I feel like my past is coming back to haunt me because I wasn't ready for that at the time, and now I'm paying the price. That right there is a toxic. That's a toxic mind because, okay, so and so might have proposed, or so and so might wanted to get married, and you did not want it at that time. You have to know what you're ready for and what you're not ready for. Because anytime you're into an agreement with something and you know you're not ready for it, that can be meaning you bring in toxic, or the toxicness is coming because you're not ready for something and you're forcing yourself into something that you know you're not ready for. That can be a job. A job can pay you $100,000, but if you know you're not ready for or mature enough for, it can bring toxic into your environment. The way you feel about yourself is what you attract. So if you feel like you're garbage, those are the type of relationships that you're going to attract. So you have to feel and think more about yourself, to get people that's going to feel the same about you. No, that does not mean because you speak highly about yourself, you're going to find somebody to think that way and feel that way about you. You just got to invest more into it. When you see that a person is bringing down your peace of mind, you leave them at your door, outside your door, because your peace of mind and your self-worth plays a part in everything about your relationships. Does it mean that I'm toxic? Just because you're in a toxic relationship, that does not mean you are a toxic person, unless you are the person that's bringing the excess baggage that you can get rid of. So if you're the person that's in a past relationship and your past cheated on you, your past used you, or whatever happened, when you start bringing that excess baggage into a new relationship, yeah, it can get kind of toxic for you and that person, because don't nobody want to deal with or what happened in your past. You leave your past where it's at, not unless your past is hurting you where you need somebody to help you through it. And I know I missed one slide, that I didn't include one slide. Does sex play a part, and does sex, money, and stuff play a part of back? Yes, it does too. Play a part in being in a toxic relationship. Going back to some slides that I said earlier, because if a person is taking care of your physical needs, yes, that would allow you to stay in a toxic relationship. Because if you're not at a point where you can be self-sufficient, you do stay around into a toxic environment. For one, for 15 years I was in a toxic marriage because I could not provide for myself. So yes, that was a mean for me to stay. If people uses sex, yes, that's a good reason too. Yes, I like the way this person makes love to me, I like the way this person makes me feel. Yes, that is a reason for you to stay in a toxic relationship. So we have to think about the things that we do, when we get into a toxic relationship, what it is about us, what it is about this person that we want to keep around when we know that they're wrong for us. Why do we feel like we deserve such toxicness in our life? No, you deserve every day to have a peace of mind. So removing people out of your life, that's bringing toxic in your life, is a step. If you are the one that's bringing toxic to people, sit down and think about what has gone on in my life that allowed me to keep bringing this stuff everywhere I go. So, thank you again for watching our presentation on toxic relationships. Some of the resources that we have is media.com. The next one is Hayes segment.com, toxic relationship 15 times. Thank you for watching our presentations, and hope you tune in for the next one for next week.